My name is Elly Young. I am an assistant school administrator at Westover Elementary School in Montgomery County Public Schools. So I think wide ranging evidence of student learning looks like students having the opportunity to show what they know in multiple and varied ways. So rather than it all always being paper pencil, that they have an opportunity to show possibly with manipulatives, or if it's a math assessment that they're working on, or if it's reading and writing, that they be able to display their knowledge in a couple of different ways. Um, it means showing what they know using the standard and um, in different ways. A couple of weeks ago, I went into a fourth grade classroom in my school building, and the students were testing their cars that they had designed themselves. And so it was a science lesson on motion. And so in teams and then individually, they designed and created these cars, and they had to try to reduce the amount of impact. They had a criteria for success. So it was, they had a person in their car that they built, and they needed to make sure that that person was as safe as possible. And they needed to work on a few other criterias for success, and they were basically trying them out. So does this car withstand the impact? Is the person safe? Is the car structure in place? How did the wheels function? And so through the design element of this project, the kids realized, oh, if I don't do this with the wheels, they're not going to turn. So I have to design them a certain way. And if I build this structure over the top of the car, then that's going to protect my person a little bit better. And how do I do all of these things in one? And so I happened to go into the classroom for an informal observation and saw the excitement and the success of so many students who worked in collaborative groups to design and build and then test out their cars. And then what they had to do was consider, okay, now knowing what I know, how would I improve upon my design? What would I do to make it better? Valuing students' ability to demonstrate their learning in multiple ways values the whole child and respects the whole child, as opposed, and all of their skills, whether they be auditory or whether they be visual, or however the student is best able to show and demonstrate their learning. There's a lot of opportunity in how we structure certain blocks of time in order to give us that wide range of evidence and look at the whole child, as opposed to, well, this is how they're doing on this one assessment and that's who that child is. And so we want to recognize that the social emotional aspect of children impacts everything. And when children feel valued and safe, they take risks, they make mistakes, and that's how they learn. I think what administrators can do is to provide freedom to some extent, but also, we are always going to have to look at the state and the district and the whatever assessments. Those are always going to be there, and we can't ever get rid of those. But we can, how we teach towards those standards can look different. And where we do feel like we have more room, that's where we definitely need to take advantage. And I think when people study the curriculum together in a collaborative planning situation, that's a good opportunity to look at the assessments and think about where we have some freedom and some flexibility, and what we can do to make sure that we're gathering what students know. There's always data that we can gather, but if we're gathering data and if we're data rich, but we're not doing something with that data, it doesn't help us, right? So we need to be looking at data and analyzing it and then using it to inform our instruction. So part of it is just encouraging that and highlighting it and elevating it when it does happen so that teachers feel safe to kind of take those risks that are um, that might be a little hard for them to kind of visualize. How is this really assessment, and what does that look like? Whoever's doing the talking is doing the thinking and the learning. So if the teacher's always doing the talking, then the students aren't doing the thinking and they aren't doing the learning. It really does have to be an active participation role that the student plays. Otherwise, they're inputting, they're not really getting anything out of it. If you're looking at it from an equity lens about giving students what they need and meeting their needs where they are, then you could look at looking at evidence from a wide range as an equity strategy, right? Because you are not limiting the way that students can demonstrate their knowledge into one thing, which makes it an equitable practice. And so that's what I would say. If you're looking to close the opportunity gap, that is an opportunity that you are not giving students who are disproportionately, performing lower, who are students of color, who are students who are special education, who are students who are multilingual learners.